guys, we're back with another live, and we have Enjoyable Entertainment coming on today. He will be in a second. We have Will, who is the owner, and any moment.
Hey.
Hello there.
Hello.
How are you doing? Let me just adjust so I'm actually in the frame.
Try to get this. How's that?
Oh,
All right.
Very fancy with your microphone over there.
You like that, right?
I do, because I'm just using this guy over here.
Yeah. Just hanging out, trying to do what we can.
Of course. So I'm having Will on today. I feel like weird because I'm talking about you, but you're here. But I'm going to introduce you anyway.
Yeah, I'll put myself in the back here.
So me and Will work together in the event industry, and the event industry has been heavily impacted with what has resulted from coronavirus, with all the shutdowns, not being able to have get-togethers with large amounts of people. And we're going to talk a little bit about what we think is both happening in the industry right now from experience and what will be happening later. Will is the owner of Enjoyable Entertainment. And Will, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do over at Enjoyable?
All right. So so we've been incorporated for almost 6 years, based on Long Island. So we do basically stick to Long Island, but we also go to the city as well, and sometimes we'll go upstate and whatnot. But we're a full-service event company, so we do everything from the DJs, casino nights, inflatables, tents, tables, chairs, photo booths, lounge furniture, of course, photography, brought to you by Celia Werner Productions, and basically all the ins and outs of the different industry. And what we've really done is I've tried to diversify the portfolio, so we're not so much just doing weddings or just we're able to gather an entire spectrum. So certain times of the year, sometimes there's wedding season, sometimes there's bar mitzvah season, there's corporate season. So by doing that, we pretty much stay busy year round. So we've definitely been impacted to a point of, if you can picture a train going 80 miles an hour and then having to hit the e-brake, that's kind of how I feel like most of, my friends and colleagues in the industry, kind of how everyone sees, what's going on. It's been a little crazy.
When this all started coming out, I know I was in Florida. I was actually working an event when all of the news started breaking. Mm-hmm. What was that like for you? How did that kind of go over at Enjoyable? Because I know you probably got 1,000,001 phone calls.
Yeah, it was definitely, it was interesting for us. So our business plan really is, we do a lot of corporate. So corporate universities, that's kind of our niche. So I would say maybe it's 60 to 65% corporate. So a lot of our accounts are all residual. So, we're very blessed in the fact that, we start January 1st. I already have a slew of things that I know are going to be there for the year. So with that being said, though, it's a double-edged sword, because now when I get an email from one of our major universities saying we're canceling the rest of the semester, we take a massive hit. So in a matter of, 3 days of that first, I guess this is 3 weeks ago now or something like that, just that, that Monday and Tuesday, I mean, I'm a very transparent person. I've never dealt with depression or anxiety. I get anxious before events, but that's a human thing. I didn't even get out of bed on that Tuesday at all. It was a culture shock. In just a couple of emails, we lost a massive part of our business. And then every email after that, and I know many people that I talk to, it's the same. Every email and every phone call was either a cancellation or a reschedule with an unknown date. And the thing is, for the most part, the weddings, the Sweet 16s and everything, that's all going to happen. Mm-hmm. They're not going to not get married. They're not going to not have their Sweet 16. We don't know when it's going to happen. But for the most part, you're going to have that business. It's not gone. It's just moving. Now, whether you can cover it or not, because now, and I want to get into that with you, but I'm sure that, that's going to be a whole different issue. Mm-hmm. Because these people are going to be triple, quadruple booked. But with us, a lot, once the semester's over, they're not going to bring back the class to do something again. So that money's just gone. Now, thankfully, we have a pretty nice, slush fund as far as money I've put away as an emergency thing, which, you know, on a little side note, the main thing that I hope after all this is said and done, that not only entrepreneurs, but, you know, self-employed people and, you know, people in general, just everyone, especially young people, I hope that they learn to save money.
Oh, yes, 100%.
You know, for me, if you're making $1,000 a month, you should pretend you make 800, and that 200 should be like you've never made it, and it should just go away and just pretend it's not there, because things like this can happen. You could lose your job. You know, you could, you know, like I just said, like our business, you know, I had to lay off our general manager. I had to we have 7 trucks in our fleet. I took 3/4 of them off the road. We're not going to use them. You know, I can't take the new ones off that I just bought because, you know, they have to be on the road legally. So to say that this was detrimental to our business, you know, I'm very proud to say that in the 6 years that we've been in business, you know, we've almost doubled every year. You know, I mean, I'm very proud, and we've done everything the right way. You know, we offer 401k. We do the whole 9 yards. So this has been, you know, really, you know, detrimental to the business. But I think what's more important is how we come out of it.
I agree. On my end, when I was in Florida, I was watching this all come out, and the first cancellation came in. The second cancellation came in. And these aren't small cancellations. These were like 4 or 5 day events where I was going to be doing either live stream or photography, videography for multiple days.
Right.
A lot of these were like, I was going to do a psychotherapy symposium. I was going to do Philadelphia Comic-Con. All of these things that were yearly things that I would go and I would do. They're gone.
Yep.
Well,
Gone.
Philly Comic-Con is probably going to be Labor Day weekend, but we don't know if we have Labor Day weekend yet.
Right. We don't. That's the problem, is there's no end date for this. So I already have people rescheduling from, you know, let's say they were in May and they want to do July. And listen, I'm hoping that, you know, we're back up and running, you know, because I mean, at the end of the day, you know, unfortunately, I like to think in this way. I don't want to be selfish, I should say.
Yeah.
I would rather the country get back to work sooner than later, even if events is going to take the biggest hit.
Yes.
However, and this is where I think the psychology of it comes in, you know, they're talking a lot about how they're going to have to change sports arena occupancies and restaurants. They're going to have to move the tables and everything. And I think that that's going to happen for a little bit. But I also think that the general consumer also has a very short memory of how things are. So as far as, and I don't mean that in a mean way, but I mean as if I think
like life's gonna go back to normal.
Life's gonna go back to normal. I think 3 to 4 weeks after this is over, people are just gonna be on to what's next in the news. You know, what are we worrying about today? Because we've had
fair.
We've had plenty of things happen in the past, and life went on. Unfortunately, you know, I like to look at things from a practical way, and you can't keep the economy closed forever. I do think that with this, how this is affecting everyone at once, I think we're going to get a real appreciation for small business. Because when people think of business, I feel like they think of like the Waltons, and they think of Amazon, and they think of Walmart. They don't understand that the locomotive of the United States is small businesses.
I agree.
Me,
100%.
So many people that we know that are small businesses that employ people. And yeah, we might only employ, you know, 1 to 15 people, but times that by 100 businesses. It adds up very quickly. So I'm hoping, the 2 things I hope for that come out of this are people learn to save a little bit better, and that there's an appreciation for small business and the true economy of this country.
I agree 100%. A lot of the people that I've been seeing step up and connect with their clients, connect with their audience, have been small business owners or small business representatives. A lot of people are trying to figure out, hey, what's open right now? Where can I eat?
Right.
What services are still available? And a lot of times, and I've been on Instagram, I've been on Facebook, I've been watching who has been connecting, and it's all been small business owners. Because they understand the importance of community in this time, because they are a part of the community.
I think that also during this time, it's really where we see that if you put in the work with the networking and putting the effort of going to your chamber meetings and going to your, small business meetings, this is kind of where that will start to shine, because,
Yes.
you can do a really good reach out to people, and I think right now more than anything, if you have a business plan, let's say for events like we do, I'm working on a side project right now for the business that I truly think that if I can we're working with the Chamber of Commerce's and get this off the ground, we're going to be able to create a social distance event, and it could be reoccurring. And that's the thing. It's kind of like, with the DJ side and everything, if you don't continue to, revolutionize yourself, if this is how it's going to be for the next 5 to 6 months, because honestly, even if we get back to work again, no one's going to be wanting to have a communion when, we just got over this because grandma could get sick. We don't want this to, so I don't expect the event industry to be back until hopefully late summer.
Yeah, and for those of you joining now, just a refresher on what the topic is, because someone asked, we are talking about how coronavirus has affected the event industry. And I just want to circle back to what you just said about doing some sort of virtual event. This is a time where people are stuck home. They want a glimpse of the outside world, a glimpse of what they've been doing. So I know I've been incorporating that with a lot of the social media posts I've been posting. I've posted some stuff from Disney. I've posted a lot of educational content. I've posted some jokes because everyone needs that moment of,
absolutely,
oh, wait, the world's not that bad. I've been trying to do that. And I think that's the same kind of thing that the virtual event would have.
I think that there needs to be a lot of camaraderie right now. One of our major partners is we work with a lot of events on 5Ks and triathlons and stuff like that. So they're starting to do virtual 5Ks where you run on your treadmill or you run outside and then you send in your results. Okay. So I think that's what we need right now is people need to, if you stay in isolation, you're going to lose your mind. And there's a lot, and it is difficult right now because you have, people aren't, seeing other loved ones and you're stuck inside and you're worried about spreading it, So this is really the time, I think, where, more than ever, you need to, reshape what you do and think, how could I use this time and still, give something worth meaning, even when I can't have a full-fledged event, because if we're stuck like this for 6 months, I don't know about you, but I can't not make an income.
I am in the same boat, and I really like how you're driving home the point of providing value. Yeah. Because if you're providing value to your clients, your general following base, or whoever it is that you're trying to reach out to, that's what you're going to be remembered for after this.
Exactly, and that's the thing. It's like, if you're an event company out there, you're a photographer, a videographer, the best thing you could possibly do is somehow see how you could help the community. It's not about, right now, honestly, you're going to be remembered more for what you do, not how much you charge. And hopefully you do have that rainy day fund, because you know what? Restaurants, for instance, restaurants are going to get murdered if they cannot keep up. The average restaurant in the United States has a 16-day grace period that they can sustain, without having, a good amount of sales. That can go up to 30 days for the really good ones. Other than that, the amount of overhead that they have, and, a lot of these smaller companies, they have a lot of overhead. Now, with this CARE Act being passed, we're starting to get the details of it and everything. There's hopefully going to be a lot of, originally, it was going to be low interest loans. However, now we're finding out that a lot of it can be grants. So if this is the case now, I'll be able to apply for this, showing your tax returns, showing you did everything legitimately, and you might actually be able to get some of these forgivable loans if they're used to pay your utilities and to keep people on payroll. Now, how does that work into, if we don't have other events, how does that work into me having my manager or someone work? Well, guess what? They're going to come back to work because they're going to make more money than they could have on unemployment. And first of all, I don't want them on unemployment. Yeah. I got to say, probably one of the worst 5 to 10 moments of my life is having to tell my employees, I'm sorry, I can't pay you. You know, that's the thing I don't think people understand. You know, this kind of been irking me lately is I see so many people saying, you know, we need to shut the economy down for as long as it takes. They don't understand what that does. That we're not going to, if you shut down the economy for 6 months, there won't be an economy to come back to. And that's not being a doomsday person. That's being practical. Most of these companies cannot sustain 6 months, 5 months without any, and guess what? You know, they're going to give $1,200 to every person that makes under $75,000 that files taxes. Well, guess what? At the same time, we can't just be taking loans and loans and loans, and hoping one day we're going to pay it off. So
I think that you bring up a really good point, because for someone like me and someone like you, unemployment isn't exactly the best option, because I mean, I don't, like, through my business, I don't have a W-2.
Right.
I until recently couldn't apply for that.
Right.
But the other option is, hey, take a loan, which is me paying for my money.
Right. Well, now apparently and again, this is still coming out, but they have expanded the unemployment to include employers, whereas, because even like myself, I do get a W-2 for enjoyable entertainment. However, I can't file for unemployment because I'm technically the shareholder of the company. But under this, I may be able to. However, if I can instead pay my employees and still pay myself, I would much rather do that. Because at the end of the day, my most important thing, put aside me making money, my most important thing is the people that rely on me for money, my employees. That's what's the most important thing to me. You know, it's no BS when I say that the greatest part of being an entrepreneur is putting money in people's pockets and being able to sustain them in life, and they look to you. So it's a lot of pressure in that sense where, you know, when you're used to, you know, chugging along, making, you know, plenty of money, you know, buying things, helping the economy, and all of a sudden the next day it's just, by the way, everything's shut down and the country is basically on lockdown and we don't know when it's going to open. It's a scary thing.
I have been trying to pivot as much as I can in this situation, because I don't have magical income coming in right now. So I've tried to figure out how I can provide value to other companies. So I tried advertising to make some virtual house tours and coordinating live streams from here and things like that. But how long is that sustainable?
Exactly.
Like, how long is that going to work in this situation? So it's just a very gray area that we're in right now. And
I guess the one thing I could say that's, I guess, a good point about it is we're all in this together, though. That's the difference. It's not like they said, hey, you can't have any events and that's the only thing, everything else is normal. No, all non-essential businesses are closed. You know, people aren't flying. I mean, this is affecting everyone. You know, and there's a lot of unknowns, like we've said. But I think the biggest thing you need to do right now is reach into your head and figure out what is a skill or what is something that you can do that'll make you stand out and also make you some money. Like, I have a broadcast background. That's what so what I've done is I've kind of maneuvered the company into now offering more broadcast features where we're doing, you know, technical directors now, and we're doing and we're working virtually with news broadcasts, because again, news is essential. So by us doing that, we're able to at least make some type of income to keep the bills paid and keep the doors open. And I have a lot of clients, and I was talking to another colleague this morning, Nick over at Preferred Events in Farmingdale, and he had told me a story that he had gotten a call yesterday from a client for a wedding that they were having in the late summer. And of course, like us right now, he's thinking, great, they're canceling, you know, they're doing that. Instead, he was calling to actually check up on Nick to see how they were doing. And I've seen a lot of the goodwill come out that I don't think I've ever seen before, where people are actually, you know, I got a voicemail yesterday from someone who had to move their Sweet 16, but that wasn't the first thing they said. They said, I want to call and check on you and how you're doing, and hopefully you're safe and the business and the employees are safe. So you're seeing kind of like, I don't want to compare this to a 9/11 kind of instant, but you're seeing more of people being more gracious to each other and really putting aside the whole, you know, economical feature, and you're seeing more of the psychological come out, and just it's nice to see that people care and don't see me as this, you know, big business that, you know, sometimes we get alluded to be, but more so someone else that's being affected by this and they want to check on how we're doing, which I think is awesome.
I agree. I've seen a lot of people reaching out to me. I've reached out to a lot of people. I've talked to people in comments. And the whole general consensus is, hey, are you doing all right? Is there anything I can do to help?
Yeah.
And that whole back and forth, because if you really break down what's happening, everyone is going through a traumatic event.
Yeah.
And everyone deals with trauma differently. So everyone is trying to find their coping method and what's going to be best for them in this situation so that they can actually get through it.
You're right.
Like, for instance, for me, I like helping people. So obviously, like, I started up these lives. I've been posting a lot, and I've been checking in with different people because that is my way of coping.
Right.
Other people have other ways, but it's very important to make sure that you don't make it about yourself, and you make sure that it is part of a community effort.
Yep.
So that everyone stays connected and throughout this whole process.
And I'm a very purpose-driven person, which I think you are too. I need something to do. So it's kind of ironic, actually, because, you know, when the new year happened, I made a really big list. And I said, these are all the things that I want to get done in January. And it was a long list. It was all the things that I compiled from the summer saying, you know, we really need to fix that, or we really need to install that. And I was proud to say we actually did it. So that left very little to get done, you know, when all of a sudden we were out of work. So we started building, you know, because again, I wanted to keep my employees working as long as physically possible. Even with no events, you know, there's always something to do.
Yeah.
So we had built in our warehouse in Deer Park, we built an elevator for to the second level to bring down some of the larger equipment. You know, these are just things that, you know, I just wanted to keep them being paid. Even if it's going to come out of our pocket when we don't have money coming in, you know, I need to keep these people, you know, they have livelihoods to, you know, and that's my responsibility. So it's definitely, I'm interested just to see how the other side comes out, and I'm interested to see who comes on the other side, because this is going to, regarding the event industry, I think that this is going to stir some people away to maybe a more safer thing. I feel like a lot of guys and girls that do this on the side, you know, might now say, you know what, this was fun, but I need to go get a real job. I always put that in quotations because some people don't think the event industry is a real job. They really don't, you know, because they only see, you know, the outside. They only see,
they see the good
you're
part.
at a party taking pictures. That's not a real job, you know.
They see me holding a camera going.
Right. And again, this is just people only understand what's within their area, which, you know, if you work a 9 to 5 and you're at a work right now, but you're still being paid or whatnot, you know, it'd be hard to understand, you know, what I'm going through, you know, and that's why with me, I always try to look, I say before I get mad or I react or anything, I try to think about it from all perspectives. And that's the biggest thing that I've tried to instill in my staff is I want you not to think of this as an employee, like as my managers and whatnot. I want you to think of this as the employer as well. Like when they see an invoice and they see that we're only, you know, if the DJ is getting paid $300-400, but we're charging $1,500, well, that doesn't seem fair. They're doing all the work, but I'm making most of the profit. But then all of a sudden, when you sit down with them and you explain to them the utilities, the advertising, the rent,
insurance,
the acquisition of that client, the insurance, I mean,
the gear,
at the end of the day, and then they're like, wow, you know, I never thought about it like this. So I'm hoping that people take this time and listen, play your video games, eat your Oreos, but also learn Photoshop. Go create some new advertisements for the business. So when this is all, and you know what, right now it's going to be, and I want to get your take on this. I want to see how people advertise during this, because I know a lot of people aren't going to want to say anything. But at the same time, for me, like I'm working on a video right now, right before you called me, and I think you can advertise without advertising.
Yes.
I just want to post that we can't wait to have fun. Because after all this, being stuck inside or being, you know, 6 feet away from each other, I want to have as much fun as humanly possible. And I don't need to sell you on my package. I need to sell you on what we bring to the table.
Yeah, I agree. And that's also kind of what I'm doing as well, because it's important to keep up, for lack of a better word, your image.
Absolutely.
Because I hate to say the word image, because that sometimes has like a negative connotation,
Right.
as if that's not real. But I mean, my take on that is that your image is like your story. It's what people are seeing. It's
Absolutely.
what people are interacting with, and that's how they see you taking, basically, how do I say this? It shows how you're handling the situation.
Right. And not only that, but also people are on social media right now more than ever before, because they have nothing to do. So the best thing you could possibly do is put things in the timeline that aren't so much salesy, but are just showing what, you. And so later on, they see it and they're like, oh yeah, they had a really sick DJ setup, or they had some awesome pictures taken, and they had some funny stuff posted. It doesn't need to be the glitz and glamour. And, no, right now, no one this is going to be honest. Right now, no one cares about saving $100 on a package. Yep. However, I do see people on the other side saying, listen, I know things are tough right now, so we're offering a discount on a deposit, where if you give a deposit now for a future event, we'll take $100 off. And again, that's a different type of advertising, and it's, appealing to what people are going through, because guess what? Again, they're still going to have a party. Yes. It might not be today. It might not be in 3 months. It might not be in 5 months. I see people that are offering, events and not taking deposits now. So I see people reacting in different ways, and you know what? Some things are going to work for some people. Some things aren't going to work for other people. It's just, you just need to at least try something. Because again, if it doesn't work, guess what? You reinvent it. Yep. I think too many people are too afraid to try things.
I agree. And I know I've seen a lot of DJs doing things like live sets to keep people involved. And I know some people have been offering help with AV, because you and I both know most people don't know how to do audio visual.
Absolutely. Yep.
So like computer setups, things like that. I've been asked a ton about live stream. Like, there's only so much that I can explain over the phone.
You've been putting great content out, though.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All these things. And I'm seeing other photographers doing, very similar things as well, trying to just, again, promote what they do. What's the best lighting for a selfie, or what you did when you showed with the windows, that you should have the windows, behind you, not in front of you, or vice, what's the best time? And this is all things that, again, it would just be a real shame if you were stuck in your house for 4 months and you came out the other side with nothing positive, as far as nothing that you learned. It would just be a shame, because that means you let the depression win, and depression is no joke. I had never felt the way that I felt that first week. I had felt, and I used this analogy the other day, because people don't get it. They say, well, it's not your fault. It's not your fault that you don't have a business. It's not your fault you got to take all your trucks off the road and lay off your employees. It's not your fault. Well, as a business owner, you're the captain of the ship. Okay? And if the ship goes down and it sinks, whether there was a hole in it, there was a tsunami, or you hit an iceberg, that ship sank. Yeah. Now, right now, my ship is in the water, and it has extreme damage. But we're going to plug the hole, and we're going to come out of this. And I made that very, very well known to not only my constituents, my employees, and most importantly, my clients. Yeah. I have people, some people are afraid. I have weddings for next year, writing us being like, hey, just wanted to check in and make sure you guys are going to be okay and that you're going to be here next year. And it's really important. I have some friends that I know that have put a thing on their, website, that when you open up their URL, it pops up and says, we're open. Because again, there's so many unknown factors. Yeah, one of the things that I'm going to be doing, actually, likely today, is I'm going to make a whole tab on my website that says what we're doing in the midst of COVID-19. Right. So like all of the posts I've been making about, hey, we're helping real estate, hey, we're helping with live stream, I'm actually going to be doing a lot of consulting work. So if anyone needs any consulting work done about how they can keep their image going, I'm going to put that information all up there, so that
when people come to my website, and for some reason with the thing that I have, what's it called? The thing that I have on my website, it sends me a notification every time people go on there. So I know how frequently people are going on there, but I need to make sure that they're not just looking at my general information.
Right.
They need to know how I'm handling this and what they can still expect from my business. Because can I go out there? Technically, I'm part of the press. I have my credentials, but is it safe for me to do that right now?
And we've had a couple of events since then that have come in to help with, you know, some of our larger clients that still need to get the word out, you know, to their people. And yeah, it's definitely, again, it's so many unknown things, especially because you don't have to show symptoms. You know, there's so many things we're still it's new news every day. Something new we find out about it. You know, now they're saying that the people that have recovered, you know, they're creating antibodies. And now they want to start doing blood transfusions from those people that have antibodies in their blood to other patients and seeing if they'll replicate. Every day, I mean, the one positive is the whole world is working on this together. And we're going to get through it. You know, at the end of the day, you need to think about it practically. We're going to lose people, and that is a travesty. But we're going to survive as a race. And we're going to get through this. And you know what? We're just going to have to learn from this. You know, I hope that we don't forget and that, you know, next time we're a little more prepared. You know, and, you know, I think that the event industry is just going to have to adapt for now, and we'll be back into it. But the other thing you have to remember is now, you know, let's say this is all said and done in July. Well, all these events are going to have to still happen. So people are going to be so overwhelmed, these owners of these businesses are going to be so overwhelmed with double bookings, triple bookings, and there's going to be a lot of amendments to people's contracts, and it's going to be a really interesting time, but at least we'll be getting back to work.
Yeah, I've actually gotten reached out to from a number of different video companies that are local saying, hey, we are going to need second shooters. We're going to need extra people when this all turns around, because the problem that people are going to have, and you've mentioned this, you've alluded to this, and I say especially for photographers and videographers, because sometimes it's a 1-person, 2-person, 3-person team.
Right.
They already have something booked on that future date. But someone like me, fortunately, I don't have this problem with what had gotten canceled. They've got deposits. They have an obligation and a contract with these couples, these different events, that if they had to give back all of that deposit money, they would go broke right away.
So that's the other issue. People are kind of facing the moral versus the economic, you know, problem with, you know, I've been fortunate where I haven't had anyone ask me for money back. You know, they've kind of just said, you know, we're moving the event. I just want to make sure my deposit is safe. And the deposit's always safe, you know. So, but yeah, there are, you know, if all of my events ask me to give them money back, I mean, you know, it's a moral thing, because technically, you know, deposits are non-refundable. But it's not every day that all of a sudden they're shutting down the world because of this. So it's complicated. You know, it's something that we haven't, you know, dealt with yet. And it's something that we just need to learn from our mistakes every day. And just, again, we need to, if there's a couple things people are going to take away from this, it's, I hope you learn how to save if you haven't already been saving your money, because you do need a rainy day fund. You can't, you know, you can't, the money hopefully will always be coming in. But what about when it doesn't? Can you survive 3 months, 6 months? And you know what? In a place like we live, where Long Island, where it's one of the most expensive places in the country, it's not exactly easy. But if you're a little more frugal than you usually are, you know, like when people, to me, it kind of irks me, because when people say, well, I live paycheck to paycheck. Okay, that's fair. But why do you live paycheck to paycheck? Let's break down your expenses. What are you driving? Are you spending $400 a month on a car, or are you spending $200 on a car? Are you making your coffee at home, or are you spending $5 a day? Do you smoke? Do you buy lotto tickets? Do you go shopping all the time? Again, live your life. Live it to the fullest. But just try to cut where you can and save money. And
I
again,
agree.
if you do it ahead of time, if you have it auto take out from your bank account and put into a savings account, it's money you almost forget about. You know, and this is in no way, shape, or form a plug, but there are apps like Acorns where you could have it multiply off of something you make. If you spend, you know, $5.50, it'll take that 50 cents and round it up, and it'll put into a savings account. 50 cents does nothing, but 50 cents times 1,000 purchases, it adds up.
Yeah.
And you might not miss that 50 cents. And that's the only, it's just, if you save your money, learn a skill. You know, if you're home, you know, the parks are all free right now, which is kind of weird to me because they want you to social distance, but I go bike riding a lot, and the parks are all packed. So it's kind of a weird thing, but, you know, go on a walk, or, and if you have a family, like, don't all sit in individual rooms, like, spend time. You know, you're going to be locked in this house. You might as well, you know, bring out the board games, or again, if you're into photography, videography, and anything, learn how to make things. YouTube is YouTube and Google are like the greatest things ever. You can learn anything. You want to learn how to do QuickBooks. There is an entire series. Is it like 10 hours? Yeah, but what are you doing? You know?
Yeah, 100%. Because when this first started happening, I figured I was going to be in bed watching Netflix for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to create. I'm going to do all of the different projects that I've wanted to do. One of those projects is actually doing these live streams,
which I think is so instrumental. And I think that, you know, seeing other small businesses and people that are watching, I think that it helps a little bit, because even though people say we're all in this together, you know, you need to see it. You need to see it through. You know, for me, it wasn't, I don't want to say it was nice to see other people in the same boat as me, but it was a little more comforting. Saying, you know what, I did all the right things, they did all the right things, and this is still where we're at. You know, unfortunately, being in the event industry, this is the first thing that comes out. You know, this is the first, when they say you got to distance yourself, well, guess what? That throws all events out the window.
This is true. And I think with that, we're going to be seeing a lot more live stream at events and lower physical people at events for a little while, which is a pro and a con in a way, because it's a con because there's less attendance, but there's a lot more that you can do with virtual attendance, whether it is a paid link, whether it's just putting it out to Facebook if you're just looking for exposure. And I think, fortunately for me, that's an industry that I'm very familiar with. But I think that that's probably going to be the next step after this.
You're just going to have to, people are just going to need to adapt.
Yes.
And it's easier said than done. But it's not like we're busy right now. You know, so if your website is old.
Yes. It's time to create, basically.
Time to create. If you don't have a backlog of content, it's time to create. Use it, you know what I mean? If you start a blog, learn Photoshop, learn, you know, Media Encoder, learn Audition, learn how to do things. So at least later on, you know, you have stuff and you gain something. Are you really going to feel good about yourself if you spend 12 to 20 weeks and you watched all the shows on HBO? You know, I even did, you know, just because, again, everyone copes differently. So those first couple days, I literally, like, barely put pants on. Like, I felt so useless. You know what I mean? Like, every email was a cancellation. Call was a cancellation. Text, I'm so sorry, Will, but we have to cancel. You know? But eventually, I got out of bed. And I didn't just go right back to work, because that's not how I operate. You know, I picked up my guitar. I switched hats. And I made a bunch of songs. And I wrote songs like Weird Al Yankovic would do, but I changed the words instead to things about the COVID virus and the coronavirus. And you know what? That got me, you know, feeling a little bit better. And then, you know, and then I was like, you know what? Why don't we get more into the news? Because if they're going to lock down the non-essential businesses, if we do news, we're essential. So, you know, now we're working more with these local companies that have to put on still morning shows and everything like that. Are the hours great? No, but they're hours, and it gives us a purpose. And I can't, if I have no purpose, then I will watch Westworld, and I'll watch all these shows on Netflix and HBO and all this stuff. And I just don't gain anything out of that.
I totally understand, because that's why, honestly, like, I do deal with anxiety and depression. So if I wasn't giving myself a purpose, and that's what I'm doing with the videos, the live stream, giving myself a reason to get ready, connecting with different people. I'm actually going to be speaking to some students at like Hofstra University because their whole world was TV studio and now they have to figure it out outside. Giving myself these different things that I'm working on and working with people has, one, made me, you know, get ready for the day each day so far, but also make sure to take care of myself, give myself a schedule, give myself a routine, because that's what's important right now. Reaching out and taking care of yourself.
You know, it all sounds great, you know, oh, I get off for the week from work and everything, but it's only good when it's on your terms.
That's true.
I mean, if I want, you know, oh man, I'm taking a week off of work or I'm going away for a week, but now it's like you have to stay home. It's almost like a teenager. When you tell them not to do something, they do it. But when you tell them it's okay to do it, they don't feel like doing it.
Yes.
You know, it's almost like, you know, people go out drinking when they're before 21, but I feel like you almost go out less after you turn 21. Because now, you know, it's not, you know, it's fine. But, you know, it's just, so if you're going to be home, again, I just want to drive it home. Just learn something, reinvent yourself to some degree, and just, you know, if there are things that, if you're a DJ and your hard drive is just, you know, a mess, well, you got all the time in the world. Go. If you're a photographer and your backup drives are all full of all these events from 2012 and you don't use them anymore, or they're all over the place, optimize your drives.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
And if you're not good at Photoshop, again, you can learn it, which I strongly suggest. But
or you can have someone like me help.
or reach out to a content creator. Or also, you know, if you want to make nice brochures and stuff like that, there are websites that, like, literally, I think there's one, it's called like Kavana or something like that. And you literally could just, it's like Photoshop, but like for beginners.
Yeah.
These are all things you can, you know, learn. And again, if you don't have the money, you know, the first thing people do is cut the advertising.
Yeah.
Right now, which is fair, but everyone's doing it. So the numbers on Instagram and the numbers on Facebook, things are cheaper than they've ever been.
Yeah.
And again, don't sell the same package. Don't sell the, you know, $9.99 this package. Don't even put pricing.
I never put pricing on mine.
But this is what we do. You know what I mean? So it's just, for me, it's like the stock market right now. Everyone is crying because they're losing so much money. Yeah. But they don't understand, you know, the hard thing is, and this is what business and this is what everything is, you need to be able to separate emotion and practicality. You know, and it's a very difficult thing to do because, you know, in that first week, I lost thousands and thousands of dollars in the stock market. And I'm just watching it. And I'm watching stocks that I had that were $400 under $100. I've lost 75% of my money. Now, I could either wait a year or 2 years and eventually make my money back. Or if I have the means to do so, I could dump more money in at that lower amount and profits will come much quicker. And it's the same with your business. You could sit inside right now and you can cry and you could blame the world because it's the world's fault. It's not your individual fault. Or you could just say, you know what? This happened and I need to reinvent and I need to drive home my point, which is we're still here and we're going to be here after this and we're going to be better than ever. And I know a lot of people that are doing it. And if you do it, you'll survive. You'll make more money eventually. And this will be something in 10 years where I keep seeing this meme. It's going to say, were you involved in the 2020 epidemic? If so, you might have money coming to you. You know, you don't know. So
this is true.
Positive.
I think that's a really good spot to end it. And I think that that's a really powerful point. So what I want you to do real quick is I want you to tell people how they can get a hold of you. And I know that you have a podcast. I don't know if you're doing anything with it during this, but
yeah, so
give me all the info.
Yeah, so basically Enjoyable Entertainment. We have offices in Massapequa Park, Farmingdale, and Deer Park. We're a Long Island-based company. We do everything from, you know, it's so much easier for me to, instead of give a laundry list, we have fun. We're a party company, and that's what we bring. We bring an experience. We don't bring a laundry list of things to do. You can find us at enjoyableentertainment.com, on Instagram at enjoyable_entertainment, 631-432-2708 if you feel like calling me and talking to me even more than you've already heard me speak now. And if we do end up getting off the ground again, the Q Points Mobile DJ Podcast, where it used to be once a week, Now I don't know when it happens, but we talk about all things in the event industry, kind of similar to this. Hopefully we're going to be getting a new episode on soon. And I want to thank you, Celia, because, I mean, it's been nice being able to go back and forth with you because we are in a very similar position where we both came into the entrepreneur thing at the same time. We've been working together so many years at this point.
Yeah.
We're going to have like a 10-year anniversary party because
we should go on a cruise.
We should go on a cruise
when this is over. No,
hey man, my cruise stocks, they're going to come back eventually. But no, I think what you're doing is so awesome, and the content you put out is so informative, and I really see that you make the interaction with the people that follow you, and it's fantastic, and you're doing such a good job.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm trying. That's all you can really do right now.
Yep. You've inspired me.
All right. So thank you so much for being on today.
My
and
pleasure.
For all of you guys. Oh, well, maybe we'll have you back. I don't know. We'll see how long we're here for.
Well, I'll be here for a while.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere for the indefinite future.
Yeah, exactly.
But thank you to everyone in the audience who came on and joined us. And I'm going to be putting all of these interviews that I am doing onto my YouTube channel. So if you guys want to watch us back after the live disappears from my page, you'll be able to find us at Celia Werner on YouTube. So I hope you guys have a great day. And thanks again for coming on, Will.
No problem. My pleasure. Thanks for having me. I'll talk to you later.
Alrighty. Bye.